What drove me to come here was my friendship with Larry. He implored me that this has to be done, and this is for his project.
For our movie.
For his lifetime dream of exposing to the world the history of Orange County 69, which this is the 50th year for 69, and so much shit came out, happened.
What kind of stuff, man?
Well, Man on the Moon, the Vietnam War, everything, you know.
We have both been slightly discombobulated, walking around what used to be our neighborhoods, right? And now it's part of Disneyland. Say a few words on that, man. You know, about how weird that is. That we're in Disneyland now. That our youth is gone. And this just happened.
Well, I mean, we drove around and didn't identify anything, you know. I haven't seen the Matterhorn once, and that used to be the iconic thing you could see from miles away.
A landmark. Absolutely.
Now all you can see is the Disneyland showing its butt now. You know?
It's signed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different, and I think my house is either inside some walls somewhere where I lived or just gone.
But the one thing I was pleased about is the lack of graffiti. You know, up in Oregon, I mean, things are always tagged, but here I guess they immediately covered up. There's like
it never happened.
Yeah, it's like a psychological.
We've discussed quite a bit how when we were young, this county was all Republican almost. But now it's starting to change with the last election. You happy about that?
It's hard to tell. People are so numbed around here that nobody wants to talk politics. Nobody has bumper stickers. There's no opinions from anybody.
They don't come to Disneyland, I guess, to argue politics.
Yeah, they don't go to the beach on politics. But
it's an escape.
It must be a 50-year thing that
the memory.
Well, the spirit of fighting back. You know, marching in the streets. You know, I know.
Talk about that, like Hillcrest Park and all that stuff that happened to us.
Well, I mean, we used to protest.
Kids, 16,
where the cops would come down on us. You know?
Right, like Mechanical Men. I remember that, clubbing and stuff, being thrown to the ground.
I remember standing on the rooftop of UCLA eating peanut butter sandwiches that they're passing out as we liberated the college. You know? Or marching through the streets of Fullerton and liberating junior highs after junior high, you know, join the march, you know.
What's that? The 80s of the soundtrack. We visited one of our old haunts, and it wasn't there, but you tracked it down, and it's Thousand Steps Beach. Kind of talk about that experience, which was a good one.
Well, Thousand Steps Beach was an iconic beach because it was hard to park, to find a spot, and it was like there was a trailhead, and you had to know where it was, and it was like this dread and terror path down to the beach.
A challenge for sure.
But as soon as we got into the area, I had this very feeling of the memory of Steve Mayo. Who was run over and killed by a drunk driver while him and his buddies were stoning acid. And so to get to the new, there was never a sign that said 1,000 steps. And so
only the locals were really hip to it.
Yeah. And so we stopped at a surfer shop next to Taco Bell so we could use the outhouse. And he said, well, it's on 10th Street. Well, he misguided us, and so we drove around in circles and kind of like at bloodhounds. We finally...
found it.
I could smell it.
And it was beautiful.
But we had to walk the wrong way, facing traffic, and just that haunting feeling of...
Roadkill.
We all came together for this, flew here just so we could fix some time warp thing, you know, that this is where we die, you know, so this is where it ends.
I thought about that too. This whole trip would end with us getting, you know...
splattered.
Yeah.
Or as the surfers call it, thumped.
And tell us about the wedge. You really like the wedge, right? And that camera?
So we started talking to these guys in their 30s, the local older surfers there, you know, kind of overlooked what do they call the young kids, the bodyboarders.
Yeah.
But they said, no, did you hear what happened? That the lifeguard tower totally burned down. And this is an iconic lifeguard tower because the wedge has taken many lives and paralyzed a lot of people because it's a 18 to 20 foot break that breaks right on the shore.
About 3 inches under you.
Yeah. And there's people had carved names like a memorial on this piece of driftwood. And so as soon as they found out that the lifeguard tower had burned down, it was cleaned up, they rushed to the dump and found that charred hole.
With all the names, yeah. Were these folks who were, all of them were killed there at the wedge, right?
Well, it was kind of a surfer memorial, but they did have the names of the ones who had been killed and paralyzed, and so the surfers and the lifeguards have a mutual respect. So.
Oh yeah, they were cool. How about the lifeguard we talked to, the young kid who never heard of?
Yeah, we were sitting at 1,000 Steps and just all the memories flooding back, and we told him about what this used to be like and stuff, and he's from Laguna Beach, but he'd never heard of Timothy Leary, and it just like my jaw dropped. I mean, it's like my history had been erased. How can you black out Timothy Leary from the history? Tune in, turn on, drop out, and just. Mm-hmm. So as we drove by through Laguna, Bluebird Road, where he used to live, I'd shout out, "Timothy Leary," hoping that that
his spirit
is still around.